Shalom, shalom, Yahawah. All praises to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Getting right into the video. For those of y'all who weren't aware, there's been a lot of news talk from different politicians in regards to the digital ID system. For those of y'all who are unaware, essentially digital ID is all of the identification that people usually do when it comes to driving, when it comes to banking, when it comes to, just general identification. It's all going digital. I made a video, I don't know how long ago, in regards to Palantir and how essentially they have a contract with the United States government, the military, ICE, and all these other factions because they're essentially going to use AI as the framework and as the platform to be able to identify and gather information on all the chattel or all the people within the country. And this isn't going to just be something in America. It's already going on in China. More than likely it's going to be promoted through the United Kingdom and Europe, within the next coming, I wouldn't say months, but maybe years. And every other country is going to follow suit. So when you see a lot of these developments, brothers, it's letting you know that prophecy is unfolding, regardless of your dreams, regardless of your desires, regardless of the things that you're going through on a day-to-day basis. The Most High will is still going to be done. So it's so important and imperative for us to be, watchful, because at the end of the day, if you get caught up and you get caught off surprise and you're not on guard for what's to happen, if you get caught up in those situations when the Most High gave you warning, the blood is on your own head. Let's get those scriptures real quick. All right, so this is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 33 and 5. It says, "He heard the sound of the trumpet and took not warning. His blood shall be upon him, but he that taketh warning shall deliver his soul. But if the watchman see the sword come and blow not the trumpet, and the people be not warned, if the sword come and take any person from among them, he is taken away in his iniquity. But his blood will I require at the watchman's hands." And this is perfect timing because, we had the memorial blowing of the trumpets last week, Sunday night. And we had a lot of these announcements that were going on throughout the month, specifically the last few days, that's very prevalent. So again, the trumpet is the blowing of signs to come, things to come. The Most High wants to gather his people. The Most High wants to prepare his people for the war. We're going to go through a great spiritual warfare that's going to come across the whole earth. And I don't care who you are, where you're at, this is going to affect you in some way, shape, or form. So I want to first and foremost show you guys what's going on, and then we're going to get into the aspects of prophecy so you can get a better gauge on, what it may look like in the near future.
In what's being called Orwellian, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer just announced mandatory digital IDs. Take a look.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
All right, so he said he's offering a free digital ID. So think about those two words. He's saying that this is free, but it's also mandatory. Isn't that the same thing that they did with the V cards back in 2021 and early 2022? How can something be free to be given to the sheeple, given to the people, when you're taxing the people, when you're trying to control the people, but all of a sudden now you're giving a free digital ID, but then out of your same mouth, you're saying that it will be mandatory if you want to receive a job, if you want to be able to have hired. So basically, if you're living in the United Kingdom and you don't necessarily agree with the specific digital ID, you can't work. Again, that's a precursor to the mark of the beast. Let's get the scripture. This is Revelation 13 and 16. It says, "He causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their forehead, and that no man might buy or sell except he had that mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." So again, this specific ID is not the mark of the beast, but we understand that the technology that's been coming out, from AI to quantum computing to biometric scanning and identity, to robotics, to transhumanism, all of these technologies are essentially leading to the global beast system that's going to be powered by it. So essentially, brothers and you few sisters, y'all have to understand what's coming, because I don't care how rich, how much money you have, how broke you are, how strong you think you are, what connections. The Most High's will to fulfill this prophecy is that everybody on the earth is going to either be forced to take this beast system, this mark of the beast, a part of the beast system, or be killed or try to flee the system in whatever way you can. There's no other options. I don't care who you are, what type of means you think you have. You're not going to get past it. So when we get back into that video, let's look at it. So let's listen to what he said again.
Charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID. It's as simple as that.
British civil rights activist Emily Emanuel joins us now. So Emily, what was your reaction to Starmer's announcement?
Well, really, truly, completely shocked, but also not surprised. Keir Starmer has been a terrible, terrible prime minister right from the beginning. And I've never seen actually the UK population in such uproar against a prime minister in the time that I can remember anyway. So,
and again, the people are going to riot. People are going to fight against this because this is oppression. And people understand. People go on the internet. People go on TikTok. People go on Instagram. They see a lot of these posts. The Most High is allowing the knowledge to increase. We'll get that real quick. The book of Daniel chapter 12 and verse 4, it says, "But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." So this is speaking about how in the end times, because when you read up a little bit, it's speaking about Jacob's trouble, right? It's saying how during this time, knowledge shall be increased. So, you have Instagram, you have YouTube, you have TikTok. Many of these different platforms are bringing out the information that they're trying to oppress the people. I mean, even the guy at the beginning, he called it Orwellian. I looked up the word. Orwellian means characteristics of the writing of George Orwell, especially with reference to his dystopian account of a future totalitarian state, 1984. Y'all brothers understand the book 1984. I've never read it, but it oftentimes speak about the reality of what the world is going to, what the elites have set up for the specific system that they want to place during the end times. Even the AI overview, it says, to be Orwellian means to be related to or descriptive of the oppressive, totalitarian society portrayed in George Orwell's novel 1984. Describes situations characterized by extreme state control and surveillance. That goes into what I was speaking about Palantir. For the beast system to try to replicate the ways of the Most High, it's trying to be omnipresent, meaning it's trying to have AI technology and all these different sources, from the satellites to, the database systems to mass surveillance, to essentially be able to watch and control the people across the entire earth, because the one world government is going to encapsulate all the countries of the earth. So I don't care how much bread you got, whatever country you're going to, at some point in time, that system is going to be a part of the beast system. It is what it is. That's the will of the word. That's what the word says. So, places like UK, places like China, they're going to be a little bit quicker with the timeline, because that's where a lot of the technology is at. Those are places that the elites are using not only as a testing ground, but as a government shaper to show the people what's going to happen and to be able to test the system. But this is going to go to America, it's going to go to South America, it's going to go to Mexico, it's going to go to Africa, it's going to go to Australia, wherever it is, outside of just the Western world. This is going everywhere.
I am not surprised that he's trying to pull something out the bag that will try and get him some popular votes, although it's probably going to be completely the opposite. And if you didn't see, or I don't know if you've touched on this already, but there was a march a couple of weeks ago that had over 1 million people come along to it, which was in protest of these things that he's implementing, and the state of how the state of the UK is at the moment, with illegal immigration, with just this high kind of control of government. And so there's almost like a revolution going on in the ground in the UK at the moment, because people are just sick and tired of these policies that he's implementing.
And then you have obviously a lot of protests, a lot of unrest when it comes to America with Trump. So again, a lot of these leaders are implementing a lot of things that are putting the people on edge, because they are moving in the next stages of what they have to implement. I mean, even when I looked up the specifics, digital ID, I see all these people say fight back against digital ID. Here's why digital ID is so dangerous. Digital ID torn to shreds as Fabian Ocratics. So all these people are saying how it's not gonna work. Why digital ID cards ain't gonna work. Why digital ID could be unlawful. But brothers, do I believe these people on these YouTube videos trying to incite the people that they need to fight back? No. The reason why is because I understand the will of the Most High when it comes to destroying this land. The reason why the beast has to be so terrible is because the people, he's trying to humble the people so much that they only can rely upon him. That's why your money is not going to mean anything. That's why your guns are not going to be able to shoot an AI robot that looks like the Terminator, just in a smaller version. It's the reason why no matter why you go on Earth, there's not going to be any safe place for you to run. The only place you're going to be able to run that safe is here. This is the book of Proverbs 18:10. It says, the name of Yahawah is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and is safe. So the only place that you're going to have protection, that you're going to have provisions and a watchful eye against things to come, is if you call on the name of Yahawah, Bahasham Yahawashi. Those who are of the righteous will the Most High reveal it to him, and they're going to be the ones who are going to be spared. Because when you understand a lot of these biblical prophecies like Psalms 91, there's going to be a lot of death and destruction. I mean, it says right here, 91:1, it says, he that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to Yahawah, he is my refuge and my fortress, my power, in him will I trust. Surely shall he deliver me from the snare of the fowler, meaning the predators around him, and from the noisome pestilence. And I'll go down. It says, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. So there's going to be terrors at night. People are going to be afraid. People are going to be rioting. People are going to be fearing for their life. And then the arrow that flieth by day is speaking of the wars that's going on during the day, the persecution, the tribulation. Even in the next verse, it says, nor for the pestilence that walketh in darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. So the times that we're entering in is that there's going to be pestilences and diseases, like was spoken of by Hamashiach in Matthew chapter 24, that the end times there will be famines, there will be plagues, there will be neighbor against neighbor, nation against nation, and there will be earthquakes in diverse places. It's all aligning. So when we see these things, it reminds us of two things. It reminds us that the Most High's prophecy is still coming on, that they're still going to allow a lot of these conspiracy theories to come true. But what's more important is that you don't think that us, quote unquote, men and women are going to be able to stop what's to come. We're not at all. And the Most High wants you to kill that delusion, kill that pride, and come to him humbly in repentance, because only through him are you going to be saved from the things that are to come. Point blank, period. Now I wanted to get this because this is a good, just a little Instagram thread that I had seen. In regards to the digital ID, some things about it are good, but a lot of it, again, goes into self-reliance. So let's just look through it. It says, the UK has announced digital IDs will be mandatory to work. No ID equals no job. This isn't an idea, this is happening. Not for convenience, not for safety, but for control. Agenda 2030 is unfolding before your eyes. So I'm not going to read all of these, but just go through it. It says, what is a digital ID? A government-controlled profile that links your biometric data, face, fingerprints, iris, passport, bank account, health record, your online activity, taxes, travel, total control by the state, and one click equals denial of everything too. And just so y'all understand, when y'all travel and they have like those real IDs, and especially when you're traveling outside the country, when you're in a lot of these Western countries, the ID, they can track every movement you have. They can figure out where you've been at. They can, when you guys go through the airport now, you notice they scan your face, right? They look at your passport, but they're really just scanning your face. That's biometric data. Just like when you open your phone and it scans your face to go to Wells Fargo, to identify you for YouTube or for Facebook. They're not doing that because it's quote unquote more safe. To a certain extent, it can be a little bit more safe on the base level. But they're really doing that to essentially indoctrinate and program you to be prepared for the system that they're setting up. You see what I'm saying? So this really isn't nothing new. They're just progressing it, and now they're trying to attack you where it hurts. Before it was the health records during 2020, 2021. Now it's your money, it's your finances, it's your identity. And now that they have the AI systems to roll out, it's going to be very easy for them to control you on a deep scale, on a deep level. It says, without a digital ID, you'll be unable to work, locked out from your bank, denied healthcare, restricted from travel, silenced online. It's not about convenience, it's about control. So I'm going to go through some of this. I'll read this one. It says this isn't happening in isolation. It's part of Agenda 2030, step by step, right before your eyes. Digital ID, central bank digital currency, CBDC, climate rationing, AI-powered censorship. So I've been talking about, how AI is going to be able to, get information and label you based off of the data you give it through ChatGPT, Facebook, Amazon purchases, your conversations on YouTube, through your different profiles and things like that. The next thing that they're going to look for is the central bank digital currency. That's why there's been so much hype in regards to Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, all the different cryptos, because that's how they're going to be able to fully implement the control through the money, through the dollar. They get you to worship the dollar, so that way when the dollar starts to collapse and they bring in a new system, you're basically at its control. It can be fully tracked. It can be tracked across different countries and different platforms, and everything's on in the central area, so that way they know everything that you're doing with your purchases, and also they can control your purchases, like what he's about to speak on. Oh yeah, and also climate rationing is going on as well. And isn't it so ironic that Trump is in the office and he's pulling America out of the climate agreement, the Paris Climate Agreement, as many of these scientists are saying that global warming is reaching a certain level that the world is not going to be able to come back from. Everything is all linked together, brothers. They've been planning this for decades. It says, why UK? Because London is the financial capital. For 200 years, the Rothschild banking dynasty has shaped Britain's politics and money. Their legacy influences central banks, credit systems, and government policy. Digital ID equals total control. And we understand Rothschilds is one of the merchant families of the earth, but it's deeper than the Rothschilds. It's definitely deeper than just them. It says this is the beginning of the end of free will in the West. So there's a few things wrong with this. This isn't the beginning of the end. This is the culmination of, I would say, centuries of work from politicians, from all the way from FDR to Winston Churchill, Joseph Stalin. People think that there was an illusion that if you lived in America, you had the freedom of speech, the freedom of rights. Now, the freedom of rights that we used to have 100 years ago was at a higher level than it is now. But they've been implementing this for decades. 2001, 9/11, that was the beginning of the end of freedom of speech. I mean, mass surveillance. I mean, come on now. So again, don't just fall for these people online saying, oh, the freedom is, this has been going on for decades. It says, all replaced with conditional freedoms based on obedience. That's always been their plan from the beginning. It says, why now? C-19 was a test run. Lockdowns and V-card passports normalized. Papers, please. That's true. I'm not going to read through all this, brothers. It says, and here comes the distraction game. While people fight over politics, religion, immigration, the real agenda marches on quietly. They don't care who's left or right. They don't care if you're white or black. They want you divided. They want total control. And that's not 100% true, because a lot of these people who understand the system, they say that we all have to unite as a people. We all have to unite as one to be able to fight the agenda. Some people, some brothers who are Israelites, some sisters who are Israelites are going to fall into that specific talk. They're going to think, well, they're oppressing all of our people, so we all have to come together, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Jew, whether you're a Christian. We all have to come together to fight the system. The reason why this is happening is because we've gone off and worshiped false gods and allowed wickedness to rule the earth. So this is just judgment and payment back. You can't fall into the thought process that just because somebody understands certain things about, a lot of the conspiracies, that you have to roll with them. Because if they're not serving the same God as you or willing to follow after the same God as you, they're still going to be marked for judgment regardless. So whenever they talk about they don't care if you're white or black, they don't care who's left or right. They don't care who's left or right. And as far as white and black, that's true, because those are just terms. But when it comes to your seed line, the Most High speaks, or John the Revelator, given the vision from the Most High, speaks about how the dragon is going to persecute what? This Revelation started 12 verse 10. It says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now has come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our power and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto death. So they overcame the beast through the blood of Hamashiach. Not if you're a Muslim, bro. Not if you're New Age. Not if you read 1984 and you understand the oppression that's coming on. You see what I'm saying? A lot of these people, they understand what's going on a worldly aspect, but it doesn't matter if you're making a video like this. If you're not abiding in the truth and spirit in the truth, you know, it's a good valiant effort. I give you a little bit of respect, but again, this is a spiritual battle. This have nothing to do with physical control. This is for your soul. It says, so there will only be 3 options: unite and resist, revolution against tyranny, flee, become financially free, build multiple passports and safe havens. 3, comply, become a digital slave, exploited forever. Am I wrong? Yeah, you're kind of wrong. Reason why is because unite and resist, people ain't gonna be able to resist this, I promise you. Let's get this in we'll get this in the book of Ecclesiastes. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3. It says, in the day when the keeper of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. So this is allegorical because it's speaking of the keepers of the house, the people who run the society. They will be trembling, they will be afraid because there will be revolutions. And when it says the grinders cease because they are few, there will be a lot of people out of jobs, a lot of chaos, a lot of people downtrodden. But again, they have a robotic system. They have a digital system. The beast sword is so strong and so deadly and so willing to devour that the average person is not going to be able to resist this. And that's why they have a lot of these things to keep us divided. But again, like I said in the video with Charlie Kirk, it's the Most High who's causing division amongst the nations. It's the Most High. It's not these people. Do not fall for people saying to unite. We have to unite as one and all this. The only way we could ever quote unquote unite is if it's under the rulership of Hamashiach and if the other nations are serving Israel. That's the Most High's will and order, not some random fantasy land that all these different people of different groups and different faiths are going to come together. Or not that, oh, if you get financial freedom, you build passports. Now that's going to help. Number 2 is going to help, but that's a carnal method. And like I said in videos a couple months ago, you can't bring a spiritual knife. You can't bring a knife into a spiritual gunfight. You're going to lose every time. The Most High is going to allow your wealth, your silver, and your gold to be destroyed. I promise you. You're not going to be able to outrun this system. It's going to be all over the world. You may be able to buy yourself some time, but you're not going to be able to completely avoid it. It's impossible. And also, let me get this as well, because dang, man, this topic is really lining into prophecy, right? Because when you go to Revelation chapter 12 and you go down, let's go right here. It says, verse 13, it says, when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. Speaking of Hamashiach being born out of the seed of Israel, or the woman, right? Verse 14, it says, and to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and a half a time from the face of the serpent. So who's giving the woman the wings of a great eagle? It's the Most High, because he did the exact same thing when we were in Egypt. This is Exodus 19:3. It says, and Moses went up unto the Most High, and Yahawah called unto him out of the mountain, saying, thus shall you say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, you have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Again, it says the Most High took them out of Egypt, and bare them on eagle wings, and brought you unto myself. So the Most High is the one who brought them through the wilderness and away from the persecution of Pharaoh, right? When we go back and we read Revelation chapter 12, the Bible is speaking on how essentially the Most High is going to give a place to the elect, but he's going to do it. We're not going to do it. So these specific posts are very dangerous, because if you're not really abiding in the word, you may have all this knowledge and understanding, but if you don't have the fear of the Most High, and if you're not being built up and rooted in the Most High, your house is going to get swept up. The Most High is going to put a spirit of fear. He's going to allow them to find you. He's going to allow them to kill you. He's going to allow them to force you to submit. And all that things that you think is going to happen according to your will is going to be quickly dashed away.
I'm announcing today that my administration will lead an international effort to enforce biological weapons convention, which is going to be meeting with the top leaders of the world by pioneering an AI verification system that everyone can trust. Hopefully the UN can play a constructive role, and it will also be one of the early projects under AI. Let's see how good it is, because a lot of people are saying it could be one of the great things ever, but it also can be dangerous, but it could be put to tremendous use and tremendous good, and this would be an example of that.
So you said it's an AI biometric verification system. I've heard different people say different things. Some people say it's for, some sort of like chemical tracking, not chemical as in like industrial chemicals, but more for like prevention of diseases and things like that. But I can only go off of what I've been seeing. And I did a little bit of research, really through AI and just looking up things on Google and what other brothers have said. Essentially, this is just the biometric verification system is similar to the digital ID system, and also what's going on in Vietnam. I don't know if your brothers have seen this article. It says Vietnam shuts down millions of bank accounts over biometric rules. So essentially, they're launching identity through your biometrics, through your fingerprints, through your facial recognition and things like that, retinas and things like that. So now they're identifying you through hard physical signs. You see what I'm saying? So it says Vietnam has begun a sweeping crackdown on bank accounts that fail to comply with new mandatory facial biometric identification system. So basically, if you have any sort of bank account or trying to open up a bank account, you can only open it through complying with their biometric scanning. Similar to if y'all brothers were to go on an airplane. I haven't tried to not go on an airplane without the digital ID, but I'm assuming that if you don't want to do that, they're not going to let you on a plane, or they're going to make it extremely difficult, almost to the point now where you're not going to be able to fly unless you have that identification system. So that's basically what the world has been moving to for like the last 5 years for certain. But again, this has been going on for decades. So, this is just really a sign of what's to come, and a sign that the prophecies all throughout Revelation, all throughout Jeremiah, all throughout Isaiah, all throughout Ezekiel, they're going to come to pass. The Most High is not a liar. His words will come to pass. So I just want to look into the aspects of the biometric verification system. I looked it up online just to get a better idea, right? I looked it up through ChatGPT, right? So it says global AI biometric verification system is a phrase that could refer broadly to any system that uses AI plus biometric data, faces, irises, fingerprints, voice, gait, etc. to verify identity on a large scale. I'll just go through some of this. It says it has these components: biometric data collection. The system captures traits like facial features, iris scans, fingerprints, vocal patterns or voice patterns, gait, etc. AI machine learning algorithms. The AI analyzes the data, compared to stored templates, detect spoofing, enhance matching accuracy. Database identity store. A central or distributed database holds biometric templates or hash encrypted versions for comparison and identity verification. And I'm not going to go through all of this. You can see right here, I really don't like to go through a lot of this stuff, but there are a lot of examples. You have the World Coin, a project co-founded by Sam Altman, where your iris scans are used to issue a global digital ID. So they look at your specific iris, and then they're able to specify who you are compared to the billions and billions of people, or the millions and millions of people who went through that system. You have the Aadhaar in India. The Indian national ID uses biometrics, so they look at your fingerprints, your iris scans, and they tie it to your citizens' records. It says it's not global, but it's one of the largest biometric ID systems in the world. So that's their goal. They want to have a global system. I don't know exactly if they're going to just put it under one huge system. Again, that's where quantum computing, and that's where a lot of the AI technology comes in, because quantum computing is going to give them the ability to do that on a global scale. But we'll have to see. They might just have every country do their own digital identity platform, and then sync it together as one, or they may just specifically have one huge system. We don't know exactly how it's going to look, but that's going to be how they set this up, and also how the mark of the beast is going to be set up. It's either going to be under one nation, or the nations may still have their titles, but they're all going to be under one system. So I want to go down, and then I'm going to end it on this, because I basically told it about the UK announcing the digital ID mandatory, the stuff with Trump, And then also have Vietnam is shutting down bank accounts if you're not abiding by the biometric rules. So I'll go down right here. It says, how these fit a trajectory towards a global biometric identity system. The UK mandatory digital ID for work is stepping into enforcing biometric identity as a legal requirement. The Vietnam bank account enforcement shows how biometric mandates can already be used to coerce compliance. A proposed US-UK collaboration, if real, which it is real, it just couldn't verify the sources that I found, which I found on YouTube and Instagram. But it says aims to unify these systems across borders. Together, they are pieces of the puzzle to enforce identity domestically, use biometric systems for economic control, banking, then unify across the nations. Once you have universal identity, biometric verification, and interoperable systems, you have something very close to a global biometric verification system. It says spiritual warfare perspective and what to watch out for. From the biblical worldview, many will view such a system as a potential tool for a marking system, identification tied to your loyalty, access, or control, where we get the social credit system. CF Revelation 13, whether every biometric system is a mark is not automatic, but the pattern is concerning. Red flags to watch for: syncing the biometric ID with payments, government benefits, legal rights, work and health. And again, we understand this is what the UK is doing. The biometric ID is synced with to be able to work. And then also with Vietnam, the ability to take payments, requiring identity for basic services, banking, welfare, voting, right? Mandates without alternatives or opt-outs, which is what the UK Prime Minister literally said. He says, you will not be able to work without this ID. Centralized control by global agencies or private corporations. We don't know exactly how this is going to look, but again, you have companies like Palantir, you have companies like Google, you have a lot of these different tech companies that are working with a lot of these governments to be able to have an AI framework. I mean, we literally had Trump say that he's announcing AI biometric verification. Again, this same dude who the conservatives think is the second coming of Christ in their eyes is the guy who's helping to build the structure for the B system. And, hey, make it make sense. But we'll go back down. It says use of AI to monitor, flag, surveil, predict behavior, which we already went over with the Palantir video. So it's a lot of stuff going on, and at the end of the day, brothers, these are the times we're living in. You can't be overly worried about it, because at the end of the day, you have to place your faith in Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. But let's look at this scripture before we end the video. So this is Proverbs 22:3. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. So this is, y'all brothers, this is the Most High giving you the warning. So either you're going to be prudent and look at the evil, take it seriously, and hide yourself, or you're going to just allow it to pass on, think that this can never go to my country, this can never hit America the way that brothers think it's going to hit. The Bible is a fairy tale and all these other things. And then when it comes and you got your pants down and you don't got that spiritual covering on you, boom, now you're going to get caught up in it. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. It's Ash Ibai signing out.